Hello friends, welcome to all. Myself Pradeep Sharda Prasad Yadav from Citizen College of Commerce. Today we are going to discuss our next point in the subject of the business regulatory framework, the consideration. What is meant by consideration? We all know that when we are making any of the activity, the main purpose of our making the activity to getting something from that. Okay, no one is making any work without any purpose or without any profit. So basically consideration is all mean that when any person, when any promiser is making any promise to do anything, so what is the object behind this to making that object or making that work, that something or that return is called as your consideration. For every contract there is a essential thing is your consideration, because no one is making any contract without any purpose. So when you are making any contract, you should understand what is the consideration behind it. When you are making any proposal to anyone, then you should clarify all the circumstances related to consideration. When you are giving any purposeful or objectful consideration to your promiser, then he is ready to get that all points, and then he accept this promise and its consideration also. Then we can form a valid contract that sells. So this is the basics about your consideration. If we are going to discuss this more consideration, then according to section 10, there is a definition when two parties comes together and agree to make an contract with a purposeful object, with a purposeful consideration, and form the contract that's called as your valid contract. In that, if you clarify this definition, then you understand that when that people, to whom person that contract is made or to whom person the proposal is made, he get the point about the consideration and he accept that. Thereafter he getting and ready to make that contract. So on this full of these conditions, when the consideration is included, then and then only your consideration, then only your contract going to be formed. If we are going to more into detail, according to section 25, according to the section 25 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, there is a word mentioned into that section. There is a no consideration is going to be valid contract. If there is a no consideration, then contract is a void. So this is more clarified according to the section 25. If there is a no consideration between contract, the contract is going to be void. So for every contract, whenever any promiser is making any contract or any promise, then he has to be mentioned all the circumstances related to the consideration. So every consideration is not valid according to the your contract act. There is some circumstances, there is some essential elements which has to be included in your consideration. So all of these points we are going to be discussed. So first of all, we are going to be discuss the essentials of valid consideration. So first consideration is consideration may reach the desire of the promisee. When any person, any promisee is getting or ready to make the promise, the promisee have able to understand what is the desire between or what is the he gaining from that contract. If he unable to understand or if he is unable to get what is the consideration among this contract or in that promise, so he is unable to get how the contract will be work. So whenever you are making any contract, whenever as a promisor you making any promise to another one, you should understand what is the desire or what is the consideration must be moved into that. Whenever you describe all the circumstances according to the promisee, then he is able to understand what is the circumstances and what is the consideration actually going to be happened in your contract. So whenever you are making any consideration or any contract, you should have able to desire that consideration to your promisee. Then second point is, then second essential element is consideration. Consideration may move from promisor or any third party. So as per we know that when the contract is made, there is essentially two parties who is coming together for that contract. So if these two parties are making contract, one is a promisee, one is a promisor, at that time the consideration is may move from to the promisee, because promisee is accepting that consideration to gaining that thing. Okay, he is able to get that promisee's consideration. So whenever any contract is made, then the consideration is may move from your promisor. It is essential according to the British law, the consideration is only moved from your promisor, but it is making amendment in an Indian Contract Act that the consideration may also move by any third party. If promisor and promisee accepting that condition, the consideration of this can move from any third party also. So it will be happen at any third party action, or it may be take a part from any third party's action also. Then third important point is consideration must be in real. You need to understand that when you are giving any consideration or promise to giving any consideration to your promisor, then at that time you should understand that the whatever the consideration is noted into that contract, it must be happen in real. It not be maybe in a illusionary type of consideration, because if this consideration is not in a real, so that will be affect to the validation of your contract, because whenever you are making any contract, the consideration is may not reach to the your promisee, so there will be affection or there will be affect to your contract and the promisee's relationship. There is a various example. If I am giving if A and B wanted to make a contract, and A say that if you are selling car to me, then I will give you lots of blessing. Blessing means what? Blessing, it is any kind of real thing? No. Okay, we all know that the blessing is a illusionary type of thing. So I cannot make any contract with you in that says I just saying you give me your car and I will give you thousands of or lakhs of rupees blessing. So this is a illusionary thing. This is cannot consider in your court of law. It is one type of your illusionary thing. So when you are making any contract, your consideration must be in a real. It may not be in a illusionary form. Then we are going to discuss the fourth essential element. The fourth essential element is consideration may be in a past, future or present. When you are making any contract, it happen only in your present tense, in your present time, but the consideration belongs to that contract. It may be happen in your past, or it will be in your future, or it is in your present time. It happened at any level or any times of tense, because it is allowed by the contract law that you can use any of the consideration or any of the thing which will happen in a future, or it was happened in your past, or it is happening in your present tense. It have a various type of things. If suppose A giving 1 lakh rupees in 2010 or in 2018, and he was saying that if you want to return me that, so you not need to return me, from that you can just give me your car and we are accepting that contract. In that sense, the 1 lakh rupees, the amount of car is already paid for the sum of the reason, and it is utilized in your current contract. So it will also possible, or any other contract is made between A and B. In that sense, A is saying I will pay 1 lakh rupees after 1 year and you just give me your car in right sense. So this will be also possible, or this will be also valid in a case of your contract act, because contract act is always giving permission to any promisor and any promisee to using the consideration in a past, future or your present tense. When you are seeing the types of consideration, it is basically divided in 3 types also. Your consideration relating to your past, consideration relating to your present, and consideration relating to your future. Basically these are the 3 types of your consideration which is going to be discussed in a next video. Then the fifth point is your consideration must be a lawful. When you are making a consideration contract, then at that time what is the consideration included in your contract? It must be valid in a case of law. It does not allow or making influence to your any contract, or does not breach any type of law according to the Indian contract or the any other international treaty according to the Indian government. It may not breach any of the law. If suppose A wants to make the contract with B, A promised to B, if you kill B, I will give you 1 lakh rupees. So this can be possible? No. Or otherwise he said that you just make this payment and I will just kill to B, or I am just kidnapped to anyone. This is lawful? No, this is not lawful. Or otherwise anyone to say that if you giving me this car, I will pay you 1 crore rupees drug. So drug is a lawful element? No, it is a invalid element. It will be not followed by, or it will be not continued in your law of court. So this contract is going to be void. Why? Because the consideration is not lawful content. Whenever you are making contract, it must be essentially checked by you that your contract consideration, it must be lawful. It will follow all the rules and regulation according to the any of the law. It must not be disfollowed or breaching any type of law relating to the Indian law. It may be IPC, it may be any financial rules and regulation, or etc. It should follow all the ruleful consideration according to the law. Then the 6th point, consideration may not be against public policy. When you are making contract, it suppose A, B or any of the 2 person or more than 2 person are coming together and making a contract. At that contract, if suppose the consideration which is going to be undertaken in your contract, it may be opposed or it will be harm to your public policy or the public welfare, then this type of your consideration is not going to be valid in your contract, because the public welfare is a very important according to the government, according to the citizenship. You should follow the public policy. If 2 people coming together and they just said I will want to buy your Taj Mahal, or I will want to buy the Taj Mahal, and you just give me all that Taj Mahal property rights. So it will be possible? No, because the Taj Mahal is a public property. Taj Mahal is a public property and it is for welfare of the public. It cannot be sale, or it cannot be used as a public consideration, or it not be used as your contract consideration, because it is in a welfare of your public. So any of the such thing which will be going to be opposed to the public policy or the public welfare, it cannot be used as your contract consideration. Then we will be moved to our next point. Point number 7. It must be every contract have a every fresh consideration. Whenever you are making separate contract, or whenever you are making contract, at the same time you have to be considered your consideration at a separate at that time. You cannot use a single consideration for various type of contract. You should notify what is the separate consideration going to be included in type of contract, because whenever you are making a separate contract, this is useful to you to desire or to verify what is the consideration relating to this, because if it will be not happened by the promisor side, the promisee can going to be dissolved or going to be voided to your contract. He is not able to getting something from that contract or from that work, so he is unable to make, or he is not desired to making that work. So whenever you are making any of the contract, you should notify the fresh type of consideration or the new consideration for that type of contract. If suppose you are making bunch of the contract, if you are making any bunch of the contract, so that time trying to make notify what is the specific one consideration going to be divided for every single contract. It may be happen when you are taking the more work from the single entity. At that time, if suppose one bulk of amount is given to you, at that time he should notify that the rupees 5 lakh is going to be for one separate work, 2 lakh for separate work. So this will be going to be notify the what are the consideration relating to that. And the last and the best point is for relating to this, the public policy or the public work, or we can say that the consideration not for job work. Okay, you should not give, or you should not consider, or you should not get any consideration about your job and your work. If you are working for any service, or you are working for any institution, and for working you have to be work that work, you have to be done that work, and for working that condition you cannot get, or you cannot allow to take any type of consideration. Okay, you should not notify any type of the consideration, or any people cannot give you any type of consideration for that work. It may be considered as a bargaining to you. Okay, if I want to giving you example, if you going to be in a police station, your bag is stolen by any of the theft, and you just going to your police station and you just given writing your FIR, and after writing that FIR, policeman is asking you for rupees 100 or 200 to catching that theft. So this is a valid? No, this is not valid, because you are already paid that amount, or he is getting that job for catching that theft. You not need to pay any of the amount for the catching that theft, which is theft by your who is theft your bag. It is your bag, it is okay, he should find them, because it is his private, it is work which he should be going to be do. So whenever any person is working for any institution, and for that work he should not get any type of consideration, or he is not asking for any type of consideration, it is going to be unlawful in a sense of your government law. So these are the basic essential relating to your consideration. So from this you just simply say this, say that sir, no contract, no consideration, it will be no contract. Okay, this is a very good word, that no consideration is a no contract. But there are the some type of the certain exception relating to that, whenever the no consideration, no contract is rule is not followed according to the contract law. So we will also discuss that what is the exceptions, what are the exceptions relating to no consideration. Exception to no consideration, no contract. So what are the exception, or when this type of rule is not followed in a contract? So this is also very beautiful points in that. So first is the nature of love and affection. When two people are gathering together for the reason of their love or their affection, or the naturally they are just going to be met together, at that time there is no need of any consideration or any type of return from that. If they are working for each other without any consideration in the consequence of their love and affection, so there is no need of your contract, your consideration in that type of contract. The best example relating to that, your mother, your father is going to be work for you from your childhood. They doesn't need any type of, or they do not demanded any type of consideration from your side. They just doing for your welfare, they just providing you money, they just going to teach you, they just giving all of these things whichever you needed. So they doesn't demanded any type of consideration from our side. Why? Because they just love us, they are the natural parent, and they just giving on the basis of their natural love. So in this such type of action, in such type of contract, they doesn't need any type of consideration, they doesn't demanded any type of consideration. So this is valid under the Contract Act 1872. So second is past voluntary services. Past voluntary services. When you are making any service in a past for a voluntary benefit, or voluntary you just making any work, and after going for some time you just asking money for that, or you can just asking any type of the consideration about that, so it will be not valid. Or in other sense, you just say that you do anything for me in a pasthood or any in a past time, and for that work I just return back you any of the kind of thing. For that thing I doesn't need any type of consideration, because you making benefit to me in a past, and for that I am just returning you back for making today's contract or present time of contract. So this will be happen at any time. If any person is want to return back some people's help or their charity work, so they just can do that work without any type of consideration. Then the third point is your promise to pay at the time of bearer check. When two people are accepting for the payment of the bearer check for the some time of the or the installment time of period, then also you doesn't need any type of consideration, because you agree upon that condition that the sum of the money is going to be paid on the some type of the installment or the some gap of the period of time. At that time it will be accepted at any cost. There is a doesn't need to notify any type of the consideration to making that payment for the some type of the installment. So this is also valid according to your Indian Contract Act. Then the fourth is your creation of agency. Creation of agency. We all know that whenever any company want to start it is essentially need any type of the promoter, because anyone who does not take guide or lead to making or creating any type of company doesn't many more people are coming together to form that company. So in that type or any of the agency, whenever any person just lead or take initiative to find or to form that company, at that time after the forming of the company, he doesn't specifically demand any type of consideration or the money from that company, because it is just a creator of that, and he doesn't demanded any type of the consideration from that. It is doesn't demand any type of, or he does not want to receive any type of consideration from that his work or any type of his work. He just doing for his own mindset and for his own benefit also. So whenever any person or any promoter creating any company, he just use his work as his own affection, not for any type of consideration. The consideration may be coming after the company going to be start or after the agency going to be work. He also won the profit, he also getting participation in a profit for, but not for the today's creation of the company is going to be benefited to him. So this is also considered as a valid when you are making any creation of the company or the any of the agency. Then fifth point is your gift. Okay, we are various time receiving gift from various type of the people. It is maybe our friend, our spouse, our any type of the our parents. So whenever we are receiving any type of consideration, the people who giving the to you gift, he doesn't need any type of consideration. He just giving to you gift for his own purpose and for his own love for relating to you. He doesn't need any type of consideration among the giving you goods or any type of the gifts to you. So gifts is also accepted from your no consideration, no contract rule. And the last point to this is your charity. Okay, we know that the various rich people and various good people in a world is making charity. They are just donated their whole money. It may be your Mark Zuckerberg, your Bill Gates, or the Ratan Tata. Various people, they are donating every year various of the millions of the money into for the welfare of the citizenship. At that time when they are giving their money to the general people, they doesn't need any type of consideration, or they doesn't notify any type of the consideration when they are making charity. So charity, this function or this type of action is also excluded, or this is also exceptions to your no consideration, no contract rule. So these are the basic type of exception relating to no consideration, no contract rule. So this is the basics about and overall information about the consideration which is relating to any type of contract. So in today's lecture we are just considered and we just studied relating the point relating to the your consideration, essential elements of your consideration, and the no consideration, no contracts exception into your Indian Contract Act 1872. Thank you.